BasketsTalk Ausgabe 2 mit Rotnei Clarke, nachdem er reingekommen ist und 300 Würfe in Folge versenkt hat. BasketsTalk with Rotnei Clarke after coming to the arena and nailing 300 shots in a row. Is it somewhat right?
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah,
so that's the topic I want to get started with you. When we talked to the guys in Arts after we signed you, they said, yeah, be prepared to open up the gym at 8 o'clock in the morning when you guys had a bad game the evening before, or be ready to open up the gym at least once a day because Rotnei's coming in and he's taking shot after shot after shot. So when did this habit start for you, or where does it come from?
I think it comes from when I was little. It started with my dad. I can remember being in the gym when I was like 10 or 11 years old, and he would put me through drills, and I remember sometimes going in there like kind of crying like during it because I didn't want to do it really, and I'd go home and him and my mom would get in a fight because I was crying about doing it, and because I was so young. But you know, my work ethic started when I was little because he kind of drove it into me, and by the time I got older into high school, when I was starting to be a teenager and starting to get the feel of basketball and starting to really enjoy it, that's when I started just going by myself and being independent and making sure I was working hard every single day. And so it started when I was little, and it's just kind of stayed with me all the way up until now.
Let's say out of 365 days a year, how many do you miss?
How many days off? This past year, I only took like a week off. Okay. So after the season, you know, during the season, I will. It depends on the body. Depends on how I feel. Like especially on a Sunday when me and my wife go to church when we can on Sundays. So I might take a Sunday off, but usually, you know, we go to church in the morning. We can still get in shots in the evening or in the afternoon. So it's very rare for me to take a day off. I usually take about a week, maybe a week and a half after the season to regroup and get my body feeling right and then get back at it.
Are you the kind of guy who's superstitious about things like this? Do you need this to I mean, mentally and as far as your body is concerned, to feel as far as you'll feel to be ready for whatever comes next?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've never really had anybody ask me that one. I try to say I'm not superstitious, but then again, I guess I kind of am, just because I feel like if I shoot my shots and work hard and put that work in that I know I can do every single day, if I'm missing shots in the game or if I go through a slump, it's going to give me the confidence that, okay, the hard work that I'm putting in is going to pay off. It's not like I'm just missing shots and then I'm not getting in the gym working on it. Like every day it gives me a mental confidence that if I'm missing, I know eventually I'm going to break out of a slump and I'm going to start shooting well because I put so much work into it every day.
Yeah. As much as you need those routines, go into the gym, take those shots and make those shots, how much does your wife need it?
I mess with my wife a lot about it, just because we have the baby this year, and then she goes crazy at home with the baby because the baby's constantly on her and she's crying sometimes during the day. So it actually is good for her because she gets to get out of the house, and I mess with her saying that can be her exercise for the day. I mean, as long as she runs after the balls, and so she doesn't really like.
So you're missing on purpose? Is that what you're saying? You're missing on purpose to make her run?
I wish I could say that, yeah, but no. When I do miss some, I try to tell her, "Hey, run after," just messing with her, trying to get her to run. But she enjoys it. She's really good and supportive, so we like being in here.
While preparing our press release when we signed you during the summer, I came across the fact that you are from a very tiny town with around 3.5, maybe 4,000 people that would perfectly fit into the Telekom Dome arena.
For sure.
And I listen to a lot of music, and there's a line in a Robin Thicke song called "The Good Life," which says, "In my own town, there's no street with my name on, no crown. I'm no king, and the kids they don't know my name." So what's it like when Rotnei Clarke comes back to Verdigris?
It's pretty cool. You know, there's families, and I still know a lot of people in that area. So most of the people that I went to high school with, obviously, and that were younger when I was playing basketball then, have kind of graduated and moved on. But when I go back to town, everyone knows who I am, and you know, because I played 4 years there, and we were really successful. We ended up winning a state title there, and so it was a really cool 4 years. It was a good experience, and when I go back home, everyone usually enjoys seeing me come back home. I don't get to do it very often, but it's fun to maybe have it. Sometimes I have a summer camp there, and we have a lot of people show up, and they're very welcoming when I go back.
In my own town, there is no street with my name on it. So what was it like when you noticed, or when you got to know that there will be a street with at least the sub-name Rotnei Clarke Street?
It was crazy. Growing up, I never thought that would ever happen. I mean, for me to have a street named after me in my hometown is very humbling. It's an honor, but it's crazy. I never thought. First thing I said was, we need to go at night and take it off the sign and go steal it. But no, it's very humbling. But I never would have thought that would ever happen. It's very cool for them to do that.
Yeah, which leads to two, I guess, very important, or at least notable dates in your life when we go through your biography. Both happened 1 month on the 13th of a certain month. One being November 13th, 2009, the 55-point games with how many three-pointers?
In college, they're at 13.
13, right.
13.
You know that Harold Beecham, a former baskets player, once nailed 12 in the BBL.
Really?
So that's still today a BBL record. So that's the mark you got to reach this season. Well, but talk about this game. As I talked to Harold a couple of months ago when we celebrated our 20-year anniversary, he came over. At what point during the game did you realize, I might be pretty hot today?
It was, I remember that day like it was yesterday, just because of the atmosphere of the game. And the cool thing about that game was we had like 3 or 4 players suspended going into that game. So we only had 7 players, scholarship players, that played. Yeah. And we knew it was going to be a tough game because the other team had their full team. But we were supposed to beat them anyways going into it. It was one of the lower schools in Division I. And we came out, and I hit my first 3 pretty quick into the game, and I think I got to a point where I hit my first 7, and then I realized I was kind of at that point you just throw it up there and it's kind of going in. You kind of find your rhythm and you're in a zone, and it's a really cool feeling. But I got to the point where I think I made my first 7, and then I missed one, and the whole building just kind of went, was mad that I missed. Yeah. And then I knew it was going to be a special game because not only was I playing well, our whole team was playing well. We were moving the ball, sharing the ball, and being unselfish. And my teammates were finding me when I was open, and I was getting open a lot, and went into the second half and just kept shooting, and they kept going in. So it eventually got to a point to where it was a record for the school and in the SEC. So that was pretty cool. Was it all in the flow of the game, or was there certain times where coach was saying, let's run this and that play for Rotnei to get open? Yeah, the thing about it was, in all honesty, it was just in the flow of the game. Like we were pressing, and the game was really fast up and down, and we were getting in transition, and I was getting looks in transition, which was helping. And once I finally started hitting 5 or 6 or 7, then my teammates started looking for me. We didn't really run any plays for me. It was just they were looking to get me the ball when I was open, and at the end, when they knew, everyone was screaming, telling me to shoot, because I was only 1 or 2 away from the record. So at that point, everyone was trying to get me to shoot it. But yeah, it was kind of in the flow of the offense, which made it cool. Did you, back then, that certain night, did you realize over the course or during the game that you were on your way to setting a record, or was that something you were told afterwards? I had no idea. Everyone was telling me during the game how many points I had or whatever, and you could see it on the scoreboard. But I never had any idea what the record was, how many threes and how many points was the record. I had no idea until everyone told me at the press release after the game, so that was cool too. And then there's been another 13th, this case of January 2013, and one of maybe the most quoted words as far as press releases about your person are concerned. Yeah. I'm not coming out. Talk about this whole experience. I mean, it's the other side of, the coin when we talk about,
good experience in, in hitting those 13 threes, and then having this game against Dayton.
Yeah, it was a really scary moment. It's probably the scariest moment of my life, honestly, just because, you know, we were having such a good season. We were at that point, I think we were like 14-2 or something, and we were ranked in the top 15 in the country. And we went to Dayton, and Dayton was a crazy atmosphere, and they obviously wanted to beat us at that point. And I got a steal, and guy kind of came at me with an elbow. I don't know if he was really trying to hurt me, but he was kind of flagrant, and I ended up hitting weird on the basket support. And right when I hit the ground, I knew something was wrong because I couldn't feel my body from my neck down, and my arm, I could feel my arms because they were tingling, but I had no control over them. That's what really scared me, because I knew something was wrong. And you know, I laid down probably 5 or 6 minutes, and the trainer came out, and Coach Stevens came out, and people were starting to get worried. My parents were at the game, so they were really worried. And I just remember being so angry because we were up at that point. It was like a 1-point game, and I did not want to come out of the game, and I wanted to continue the game, and I wanted to win the game, and our team obviously wanted to win, and so I was really frustrated because my trainer told me I wasn't gonna go back in the game. I had to lay there, and because I couldn't move, and so they got me on a stretcher and took me to the hospital. And honestly, you know, I'm a Christian, and I believe I'm a man of my faith, and I honestly believe God was looking over me that day, because I could have easily walked out of that hospital that day not being able to walk. And I walked out with a severe sprain. I had a huge thing, a collar on my neck to kind of protect it, and I was playing within 2.5 weeks. But very scary moment, and I was very fortunate to be able to play basketball again.
Has that incident ever haunted you to a point where you say, yeah, that, I don't know, changed the way I play basketball, the way I attack the rim, the way I do live, and maybe on the flip side, the way that I'm more thankful for what I got?
Yeah, it did change. It changed my mindset a lot. I wouldn't say it really scared me, because as far as playing basketball, because you know, every time you take the floor, there's a possibility of something crazy happen. We see so many crazy injuries now in sports, but I did think a little bit. In the game back, I got a fast break, and I kind of slowed down and made sure that I had my feet under me, and I wanted to make sure I finished without falling on the ground weird. But after that, you know, once you start playing, you just kind of forget about it. But in my mind, it made me so much more thankful, because it made me realize, you know, basketball could be taken away from me at any point. And I'm so thankful to be able just to get up every day and walk on 2 legs, and not everybody is able to do that. And it's such a blessing to be able to move your feet and walk, and you know, be able to go about your day, going where you want to go freely. And there's so many people that, whether they're wheelchair bound or they have things going on with their legs and can't, it just makes you so much more thankful. And it's such a blessing each and every day to be able to even walk, something as little as not even people think about, but it's a true blessing. I'm very thankful that I'm able to continue to do it and play.
You already touched the subject, you know, when we talk about God and your faith in God. When I celebrated my confirmation, I had the sentence from the first. Is it the first of John or First John? First John. God is love, and he who abides in love abides in God, and God in him. How much does your faith in God and God help you to being able to maybe at times step away from the game of basketball that is somewhat present in your life for 24/7?
Yeah, it's huge for me, because you know, like I said, that moment with being injured kind of made me realize, okay, if I don't have the game of basketball, who am I as a person? You know, if I'm not able to play, what am I going to do with myself? Because I feel like there's so many athletes that if the game was taken away from them, they wouldn't know what to do. And you know, sitting out, I transferred my 3rd year after playing at Arkansas, and had to sit out a year at Butler before I played my senior year. And I wasn't able to play games because of the NCAA rules, and that kind of made me realize and sit back, okay, basketball is taken away from me. This is my chance to work on myself as a person. improve my relationship with God and just figure out who I am outside of basketball and try to be a better person and a better leader and role model. And now I'm a father and I'm a husband, I'm a son, I'm a brother and friend, teammate. There's so many areas in my life that I pray about and that I think about and I try to improve on each day, and it's able to it lifts me up being able to get up every day and know that I'm playing basketball not for myself but for God, to glorify God and to help my family and support my family. So it's an extra motivation that keeps me going each day.
During that redshirt year at Butler, what was, let's say, the top 1-2 things you learned about yourself aside basketball? I
learned about being a better friend, and I learned about outside of basketball, just being a better person. And because I was not able, everything is I could practice, I could do everything except travel and play games, which is the funnest part about playing college basketball, and that was all taken away. And so when the team went on the road, I had to stay back on campus, and I think that helped me.
Go to the library.
Right, yeah. I got a lot of extra shots up though, so that helped me as a basketball player. But outside of that, I was able to invest in my friends. I met a lot of new friends that didn't play sports that I was able to, enjoy time with and kind of invest in them and be a leader to them and kind of help them in areas in their lives. And obviously I was by myself a lot because the team was always on the road. So I was in an apartment by myself, and I was able to just get alone and pray and make myself a better person. And it really helped me realize who I was outside of basketball, and the fact that if it was taken away, I don't need it. It's just something that's a blessing, and it's an honor to be able to do.
Yeah. 2-part question. At what point or how long did it take you during that redshirt year to really realize those kind of things you already mentioned? Mm-hmm. And at what point during your college career did you realize or see, that hoop and that ball might take me somewhere?
Yeah. The first part of the question, I think I was very angry in my redshirt year because at first it took me a lot to realize, okay, the basketball is taken away from me. I'm mad right now. I was angry, and I was also figured out that I had something wrong with my ankles, so I got surgery during that redshirt year. So I was in a wheelchair for 2.5 weeks, and so that was even worse. It was like the lowest point of my life at that point, and so I was very angry. There was constant questions in my mind: why is this happening? Why me? And so it got to a point to where I really had to work and pray about things and find the inner strength in myself and mentally, and just to get out of that slump and be positive and just be a good example and be a good leader. And so that really helped me. And I think I realized after in college, it was my junior year at Arkansas. I had a really good year. After my freshman year was good. I started a lot as a freshman and played a lot more than what normally freshmen would, and going into sophomore year I had a pretty good sophomore year as well. But going into my junior year is when I realized, okay, I think I got second team all SEC, and the SEC is a really good conference. And I think I realized, okay, if I can, I'm going to transfer this year. If I can I sit out, I can really work on my game. I might be able to take this professionally and play for money, which is my goal ever since I was a little kid. So that's when I kind of realized that I had a chance.
Then it went straight forward to almost down under in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And then last year to Belgium, which leads to the question coming to this summer. When and where did you find out about the offer from Bonn, and what was your first thought?
My first thought, coming out of college and going from Australia to Belgium, and I had 2 really good experiences. And Australia was a really awesome place to live, and then Belgium was a pretty good league, and I had some good teammates there. It was a good living situation, and honestly, my agent did most of the work for me. And then this year, it was kind of at a point to where I was wanting to wait a little bit longer and see what I was going to have and have some different interests and
wait, you signed early.
Yeah, I signed early with
So
Bonn.
we'll come back to that point later. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I was wanting to wait initially, and then my agent contacted me and he said, "Hey, this is Bond's, interested. And I remember we played in preseason, and he said this is a very good offer because of the league and Euro Cup, the fact that we played, because last year we played Euro Challenge, and that was a step lower, obviously, than Euro Cup. So bumping up to that and moving into a league that's very well respected and an organization that I've heard really good things about. And, my agent was telling me all these things, and it was at a point to where I was like, okay, it's a really good thing, because in Australia, I feel like I came out and it was a good league, but it wasn't the greatest league, and I was able to win MVP of that league and bump up to Belgium. I felt like was an extra step, and now I'm here and being able to play for a great organization with an unbelievable facility, and playing in the Euro Cup is pretty cool. So that was a definite positive to being able to come here.
Yeah, I mean, when we look at players having to make a decision where they want to end up playing for the next season, there are so many countries, so many leagues, so damn many teams.
Yeah.
I don't have to swear that much. Excuse me. So many teams, and so many teams that might show interest in a certain player.
Yeah.
Talk about how damn hard it might be as a player, from a player's perspective, to get a good overview of all those teams, all those leagues, and trickle down how to finally make a decision whether I go to Germany, play for Bonn, which I played in preseason, yes, but what else do I know? Do I go anywhere else, or this place or that place?
Yeah.
So and maybe as a second part question to that, maybe what exact information did your agent share, and did you reach out to Coach Dean about playing in the BBL, because he's been in the league many years ago?
Yeah, that's a good question. As far as the countries and all the interest, or where you're wanting to go, and it's just kind of stressful, because especially with me, because it was different for me because I had my wife, and then we had a newborn baby. So the first thing for me is I want to go somewhere that's safe, and I want to go somewhere to where we're going to be able to live comfortably and live in a good city, and all those things factor into the basketball is obviously very important to me. But if my family is not somewhere safe, then I don't think I would go that route. So knowing that Bonn was a great city, and I'd heard a lot of good things, and the situation, I felt very comfortable bringing my family here. And then I think it's really important to have a good agent as well, because there's a lot of people that there's no guarantee. Like,
can we say who you're with?
I'm with the Neustadt group, Doug and Mike Neustadt, and they've done a good job for me so far. And for him, he's kind of just laid all the things out and explains the different situations, so it makes it easy on me, and to where I've heard a lot of bad stories about guys going to situations where they don't get paid and where it's dangerous and they have to leave, and so it's very encouraging for me to have a good team and good agents that put me in the right spots, and they've done that every year so far. So Go ahead.
Did it have any effect on making the decision that you already played Bonn, and that even if it's preseason, and I don't know how much one can remember from playing a preseason game, and then playing in the league and playing in Euro Challenge for 7-8 months to come. But once you got the offer, what did you remember from that game? Was there something that you would say, I remember Coach Fischer, I don't know, subbing in and out this and that way. I do remember Andre Mangov not being able to contain me, so I went up for 26 or so. Was there something like this?
Honestly, I don't remember a lot about the game. A couple of the guys joke saying that whatever, I scored however many points. I honestly don't remember that, but I remember Mickey McConnell, and I remember him being on the team. I remember Eugene, and I actually spoke with Mickey a little bit about the organization and the team before I came here. So he said he had a lot of good things to say about it. So, and I also look at, before I make decisions, guys coming back. Like, if guys are coming back to the organization, that's a good sign. Like, because there's a lot of, if there was we had a whole team to where, they're 1-year players, that's kind of questionable to me, because if they're like, last year Okabe All-Star had like 3 or 4 guys come back that year, so that obviously with families, so that obviously says, okay, it's comfortable, they obviously enjoy it.
Yeah.
So, and there's the guys that have been back year after year is a very good sign for me, so I look at that as well. And I remember them being a really good team. I know they were shorthanded, but they only had like 7 or 8 guys, I think, and I knew that they were a top 4 team last year in the BBL, so that's obviously saying a lot about the team and a lot about the coaches and the staff and the whole organization.
Yeah. Where does that Mickey McConnell connection come from? I mean, Mickey's a good guy. I mean, last year when he came in, I think it was one of the first or 2 practices I saw, and I was like, damn, there's something going on with him and Tadas. I mean, those guys were connected instantly. I was like, damn, that guy's from Lithuania, that guy's from somewhere in Arizona, out of the desert, and those guys connected on the court. It was crazy. But how do you know Mickey?
I think just playing in the States and playing college, it's just a small world. Like, guys, but you could never talk to a guy, but of them. So, guys might hit each other up on Twitter or send them messages through Twitter, and that's kind of how we got to talking a little bit, was through Twitter. So I've honestly never met him face to face, but we just kind of know of each other. And, if someone was to ask me a question, I would definitely want to help them out, and, with an organization that I'd been or somewhere like that. So, yeah.
Mickey's a good guy.
He seems like a good dude.
Absolutely. I absolutely enjoyed working with them last year.
Yeah.
So coming to an end, as you already touched the subject, Twitter, we got a couple of Facebook and Twitter questions. So first, want to start it off. Did you follow the European Championships in Berlin, and did you watch a couple games from the German team?
I watched a couple of the second half games, and I was following as much as I could. Obviously, the guys were talking a lot about it, but I watched a second half of a couple of the close ones that Germany had. So
every game was a close one.
Yeah,
basically.
Down toward the end, which is unfortunately I saw the one where they got beat by Italy, which was tough. But they had a lot of, obviously they were in every game, so most every game, and it went down to the wire. So just like that, a game could change. So it's unfortunate how it ended, I guess.
Yeah. Is there, or was there something that you would say, from watching the German national team play, is there something that translates into how you view, or on your view of the whole BBL? Is there something you would say, I could imagine that's how the German league is structured, that's how the German teams play? Yeah,
I think it's I think you can tell just by watching some of the European teams. They're just so skilled, and Aaron and I were talking about it just the other day. We were watching one of the younger teams practice, and they were just drilling ball handling and passing and things like that. And we were like, oh, that's why Europeans are so skilled and Americans aren't. Like, Americans just go in and just don't really care, and don't tune up their game, don't work on their game as much. And so it's I think the teams are very skilled over here. They're physical, big, and I think that's the one thing I noticed about the couple of the German teams we played last year is, like, Frankfurt is a really big team. Bonn had size. We got size this year, so very physical teams, which is something to be said about the league as well.
Yeah. Talking about skills, that's a bonus question from my side. Where does your shot come from? I mean, it's so damn fast. That was my first impression when I saw you practice. I was like, it looks a little bit like a fling, not to be offensive, but it looks a little bit like a fling, and it's so damn fast.
Yeah.
So where did that come from?
It's my dad. My dad worked with me through my whole
Shout
career.
out to Dad. Shout out to Dad.
But no, it started when I was younger. I didn't have as much strength, so it started kind of from my side, and then as I got older, it evolved, and eventually I was here, and now it's at the top of my head to where I can catch it and go up real quick, and it allows me, for the ball being at the top of my head, to where it's harder to block. So I don't get my size. I'm pretty short, and I don't get my shot blocked a lot because I've learned how to shoot it quick, and I shoot it high to where a defender can't get to it as quick. So I think that's advantage, being able to shoot. Percentage-wise,
how much of it is having a strong lower body, and how much of it is pounding the ball while dribbling? I mean, especially when we talk about taking shots off the dribble, it's like at least to me, it seems like when you're dribbling and then going for the shot, it's as if the ball right off the dribble, it just goes out.
Yeah, there's numerous things that I focus on. The lower body is obviously huge because that's where it starts from, and I tried to work over the summer a lot on strengthening my legs to where I could shoot from deeper, and the dribble has a lot to do with it too. That's my dad taught me a lot. Dribbling it hard, it gets your shot to where it's fluid, to where it goes. If you're dribbling it soft, you're having to go down and kind of bring it up. But if you're dribbling it hard, it's straight up into your shot and makes it easier and gives you more rhythm. So that's what I've always done, is pounded the ball really hard and went up into my shot.
Taking shots off the dribble, do you prefer going over your left shoulder? That's obviously the right, or over the left shoulder with the dribbling with the
weird the weird thing is if I'm shooting off the dribble, I like going to my left, and I don't know why, because it seems like it's easier to get the ball into the pocket going from the right, but it just feels better coming out of my left hand and gets me more into rhythm. So
that's when you take the dribble with the left, you're taking up the ball that the right hand is instantly
could be it,
underneath
and into the that could be.
At least that's my feeling. I prefer going with the left hand and then taking it in, instead of going to the right, because when I go through over the left shoulder, pounding it with the right, it's at times the right hand, the shooting hand, is like more on the side of the ball instead of underneath it.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's just an old man's objection. Back to Facebook, Twitter questions. Is there any player in the BKBL you're looking forward to play? Yes. Taylor Brown.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we already played their team, but he was hurt. But he's a really good friend, and we got to know him really well last year, and we hung out all the time. Him and another teammate of mine, and him playing with Ulm now. I guess he's kind of our rival now. So I'm very interested to see how he's going to fit into that team and how he's going to play. And so, but I don't think he's played any preseason games yet because of his ankle. But I'm looking forward to playing Ulm. And
any other dates in the calendar that you already made a mark? That you say, those guys I want to play?
I'm just looking forward to playing in the league. I know, like guys have said, that this league is so good from top to bottom, and any night, any team can beat you. So that makes the league exciting. It makes the games exciting, no matter who you're playing.
Second to last question, do you consider yourself more of a shooting guard or point guard? Having in mind that you started as a shooting guard in Aalst, but had to move to the point guard position due to injuries, right?
I think I've always been known as kind of a combo guard, and I think that's an advantage because I can play off of the ball and move off screens and do whatever, catch and shoot. But I think on top of that, I have the advantage that I can handle the ball well, and I can pass the ball and facilitate if I need to as well. So I think me being aggressive offensively, and like my 2 years before this, I've really had to be focused on scoring, because we had me and myself and another guy that really had to score to put our team in a position to win. But this year I think I'm going to have a different role, and just going to have to learn to adjust and adapt to that, and whether that's facilitating or balancing it out, and facilitating and leading the offense when I come in, or when Gino's off the floor, or if it's time for me that I need to be aggressive and score, I think I can do that. So just I've talked to coach, and just finding like a balance between scoring and facilitating is really important. So I think I can play the point guard position, play it well, but at the same time I think I'm good off the ball as well. So
how mind-bending is how talk about this work in progress, about trying to find the other guys, trying to be a scorer, trying to find your niche, trying to find your role. What's it been like thus far, and are you satisfied the way it's working out to the point where we are right now? Yeah,
I mean, as personally, I'm not really happy with how I'm playing yet. I mean, I knew it was going to be different, because it always did. I've struggled each year at the beginning, just because you have a hard time. You're playing with new guys, you're playing with a new team, and I kind of have to find my role and figure out, when I need to be aggressive, like you said, when I need to facilitate. So it's a little different, and it's hard to adjust to. But I think we're making strides and we're getting better. I think I'm getting better personally, and I'm learning all the plays. We got new guys that are learning the plays and trying to figure out what coach wants and what he expects of us. And I think as we go and get ready for the season, everyone will adapt and adjust and realize, their roles and what we're supposed to do for the team. So that's going to be a good thing.
Yeah. When we look at the team as a whole group, would you say, especially for you as a new guy coming in this summer, who has more of an objective view at things, what would you say, or hopefully there is there something that you would say, yeah, that's special? As I said, as I witnessed last year with Tadas and Mickey, where I thought that, damn, those guys click. I don't know why, but it is like this. Is there something with this group where you would say, yeah, that's surprising me in an extremely positive way?
Yeah, I think I think with professional teams that I've been on, last year we were pretty close, and first year not so much. But it's very interesting to see the guys kind of, and even in the locker room off the court, conversate and get along. And you can tell this team is, and that's part of why they were so successful last year, is that everyone got along off the floor, and that translates on the court, playing well together on the court. And I think we have a lot of talent, and once we get our full team and get guys healthy, and we have size, we have guys who can shoot the ball, we have scorers, we have creators. We have a little bit of everything. So that's going to be very exciting, I think, for people to watch, and hopefully we can make some noise throughout the league and have a good year.
Yeah. Last Twitter question. What skill from your as a basketball player needs improvement?
That's a good question.
That's a tough one.
I think my defense.
Yeah.
I could always get better. Whether that's help side defense or talking or being vocal and trying to keep I've playing hard and trying to play as tough defensive minded as I can, and I think that's always been a slight weakness of mine, and I can get better at it each day and try to work as hard as I possibly can. So I need to focus on whether it's on the ball or off the ball, talking to my teammates, communicating, and being a vocal leader. I think that's important.
Yeah. Is that something, how much of, when we talk about being vocal, how much of it comes naturally, and how much, and how do you learn this?
Yeah.
If you're not vocally naturally, if you're not naturally vocal, how can one learn this?
I think for me, it's easier for me to be vocal when I know how everything goes. Once I start learning the offense more, and I'm able to learn what guys' jobs are, I'm able to be vocal and tell them, hey, you need to be here, or we need to do this here and run this play or whatever. And I think for me, at first, it's a little bit tougher just for me to get adjusted, because I am the new guy and I don't really know anything yet, and I'm kind of just listening to the guys who have been here so they can explain things to me. And then once I get a feel for things and I kind of understand how things work and what we need to do, then that allows me to kind of open up and be a more vocal leader, I feel like.
My first was my second youth coach. Always told us in practice back in the days when we were 13, 14 years old. He said, shout out loud whatever you think on the court, whether it's offense or defense, just shout it out loud, because it's not of interest what everybody else is thinking in the stands, or the opposing team or the refs or whoever. It's about just you 10 guys, you 5 guys on the court, 5 on the bench, me as a coach, just help your teammates, and that's what stuck with me. That's and over the course of all those years, it just happened to be just happens. When I'm out on the court, I'm not thinking anymore whether am I the new guy or those guys I played with before or not. It just happens. So final question. And you already mentioned playing defense as one of your weaknesses, which will improve hopefully over the course of the upcoming weekend when we host this year's Baskets Cup. What are the top 2-3 things on the teams and your personal to-do list for the upcoming weekend?
For number one, I think win. I think that's everybody's goal, but just improve from last weekend. We had a short list of guys. Now we had hopefully get guys healthy.
But you guys only allowed 66 points in the first game.
Right. Yeah. So we had a good first game, but that second game, we kind of lost our legs a little bit. It was a little tired playing against a really good opponent, and we got fatigued, and which was understandable. But we could have played better. But I think it's just we need to make strides this weekend. Whether I think it's important to win, but right now in preseason, obviously it's you want to develop your team chemistry and get better as a team, and then hopefully going into from preseason into our first game, that's when you want to be at your best. So hopefully make strides as much as we can as a team.
Yeah. Honestly, very last question of this issue. When you know that you have 2 games in, I don't know what it is, 18, 16, 20 hours, Saturday night and then come Sunday, how much are you able or willing to go full throttle in the first game when I got to go for another game come next day?
Yeah, I mean it's tough, but as a competitor, you just got to go out there and give it your all, no matter what the circumstance, and play as hard as you possibly can, and try not to leave anything on the court. And then after the game, that's when you really need to worry about hydrating and treating your body right and getting treatment and do what you need to do to prepare and go back out and play as hard as you can again the very next day. It's definitely tough, and it's tough on the body and the mind, but as a competitor and as an athlete, you got to get used to it.
We're up to the challenge.
Yeah.
Perfetto. Rotnei, thanks for stopping by.
No problem. Thanks for having me.